If you tell the truth, they will call you a racist. Okay, so why do they do that? So you'll quit telling the truth. You'll just shut up. Okay. Honest people aren't going to speak up because if they do, they'll be called racist. So the only people speaking are the liars. Case in point, let's go over to the screen grab and take a look at this story out of Massachusetts. This is a school district that is falling behind. In fact, it is so bad that the state of Massachusetts had to take over. Now, coincidentally, it just so happens that the student population in this school district is overweighted with Hispanics. Okay, that causes a problem because inevitably some teachers are going to speak up and they're going to notice that there is a correlation between Hispanics and underperformance. But when they do that, they're going to be stigmatized as racist to shut them up. Okay, let's take a look. It says 12 months ago the state seized control of the chronically underperforming district, which has a high concentration of Hispanic students. Okay, so they asked the teachers, why do you think this is? Well, one teacher said, all the Puerto Rican families end up living together because they cannot afford their own housing, and they end up inbreeding. Another teacher asserted that immigrant parents don't provide structure, while a third teacher pointed to a widespread drug problem. Okay, so we have three teachers who are telling the truth. One of them happened to note that Puerto Rican families live together because they can't afford housing, which is true. We see that in communities all over the country, not just Puerto Ricans, but Hispanics. I know of some homes in where I live, where we've got like 10 people crammed into one apartment or one trailer, mobile home. The other teacher said immigrant parents don't provide structure. That's true, but you can't say that because they'll call you racist. Okay, the other teacher pointed to a widespread drug problem, which is true, but you can't say those things because if you do, they will call you a racist. That doesn't fit the cultural Marxism paradigm. Well, why does the paradigm? The reason these kids are underperforming, according to cultural Marxism, is because they are victims of the bourgeois. They're being oppressed by people who have wealth. That's the reason they're victims of racism. Can't be because they have a cultural disparity. There's a cultural disparity. It certainly cannot be because of genetics. We've got to rule that one out without even thinking about it. Just don't mention it. All right, so the problem is racism. You take these people from Hispanic, Latin American countries, you move them to Massachusetts, and they underperform. Why? Because all of a sudden, they're thrown into this white-dominated area, and they become victims of racism, and so they can't perform. Well, there's a problem with that theory, is they were underperforming before they came here. In fact, if you go and take a look at Hispanic countries, you find academically, virtually all of them are underperforming. And this is back, 5-6 years ago, even before the massive immigration thing was as severe as it is now. It was a problem then, but not as severe as it is now. Case in point, okay, glad you asked. Let's change screens here. This is, well, let me scroll up here so you can see where we are. This is World Education Ranking, which country does the best at reading, math, and sciences. Do you want to guess before we look at this? This is kind of a graphic. It's really not what we're going to look at, but take a look at the top. South Korea, Finland, Canada, New Zealand, Japan, Australia, Netherlands, Belgium, Norway, Estonia, Switzerland. Stop me if I'm boring you. Poland, Iceland, U.S., Sweden, Germany, Ireland, France, Denmark, and United Kingdom. What do those countries all have in common? A, they're white, or B, they're East Asian. Is it conceivably possible that white people and East Asians have higher IQs than other people? Is that conceivably possible? No, you cannot entertain that thought. Doesn't matter if it's true or not. It's racist. You can't say it. Okay, let's scroll down here. This is where we began. World Education Ranking. Country name, okay? Best performing at reading is China, followed by South Korea, Finland. It's the same thing. Look, East Asian, Western. Okay, let's say white, can we? East Asian, white, East Asian, white, 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 white. White, 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 East Asian, white, 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 Portugal, white, we'll call it white. East Asian, white, white. You know, the top ranking countries are all white or East Asian. Okay, now, just for the sake of illustration. And they're actually packed kind of tightly because in, what is this, math? Oh no, this is reading score. The United States scores 500. Well, how convenient is that? It's a nice round number. So Liechtenstein trails the United States by 1 point, whereas Sweden and Germany trail by 3 points, whereas Ireland trails by 4 points, as does France, and Chinese type Pi trails by 5, Denmark by 5, United Kingdom by 6, Hungary by 6, Portugal by whatever that is, 11. So what we are saying is that 500 is the reading level for the United States, and these other countries that are white countries aren't that far behind, and the ones that are ahead aren't that far ahead. So they're kind of compacted until you get down to Mexico. All of a sudden, it falls behind 75 points. Chile falls behind 51 points. United Arab Emirates falls behind 41 points. Take a look at some of these others. Thailand falls behind 79 points. Colombia, 87 points. Brazil, 88 points. Montenegro, 92 points. Jordan, 95 points. So what we're seeing, with very few exceptions, and there are some exceptions, most white and East Asian countries academically tend to outperform Hispanic countries. And I don't know if you noticed this or not, but on this chart, I don't even see any sub-Saharan African countries. They're not even on the chart. So you take people out of, say, Mexico or Puerto Rico. I didn't see Puerto Rico on the chart either. So you take people out of Mexico or Colombia or Brazil, or let's see if there's another Latin American country on the list. Okay, Panama, Peru. You take students out of that country and you plop them down in Massachusetts and you expect them to perform as well as white kids. That is, students who are genetically from Finland, Australia, Belgium, Norway, Estonia, Switzerland, Poland, Iceland. So you take Hispanic kids, you pop them down in the middle of a bunch of white kids, and you say they should perform as well as white kids because they have the same academic standards, they have the same teachers, they have the same environment, everything is the same. They should perform just like white students. But they don't. Why not? Racism. Well, if it's racism, why is it that they were performing so poorly back in their home countries that are not dominated by white people? Maybe, just maybe, I'm guessing here, maybe, just maybe, it actually is genetic. So let's go back to our original article. I know people hate this. It's not politically correct. You can't say this. You're supposed to be silent about it. Hush, don't say a thing about it. All right, so you have this teacher who says all the Puerto Rican families, Hispanic families, end up living together because they can't afford their own housing. Why can't they afford their own housing? These are not highly intelligent people. Some of them are, but the ones that aren't wind up having to live together just to pay the rent and electricity. Another teacher says the parents don't provide structure, which is true. Have you ever gone to a convenience store or grocery store in a Hispanic area? and look at the trash laying all over the place? Can't say that, that's racist. Okay, I won't say it, but just pretend that I actually did say it. What does that tell you? It says there is a mindset that rejects structure. Now, you see that sometimes in white trailer parks, but overall, you drive through a suburban white neighborhood, they're so tidy. In fact, it's almost frustrating. They trim their lawns, give them haircuts. A third teacher pointed out to widespread drug problem. You see, we have this problem in the United States with like $40 billion by some estimates of drug trafficking coming into the United States from Mexico. So Latin America has a drug problem. They have a problem in Ecuador with drug cartels. And that's not a secret. Everybody knows it. So when you take those same people, you plop them down in Massachusetts, they're going to have a drug problem. But you can't say that. Why? Because it's racist. So we don't say it. So people who tell the truth aren't talking, so the only people who are talking are the liars. And what are the liars saying? They're saying, well, it's white people's fault because we're racist. That's like saying, say somebody says they have cancer. What causes cancer? Racism. White people are causing cancer. Okay, so, well, maybe we should, do some testing and find out maybe there's some other cure for this. Maybe there's a cause and a cure. Nope, can't talk about that. Why not? Because you're racist if you do. So what happens? Well, what happens is the person dies. It's akin to the practice of bloodletting. So what we have in Massachusetts is a problem that is symbolic of a problem we have nationwide, really worldwide, is we are in denial. We're refusing to accept the fact that people groups have different learning abilities. They have different behavior patterns that are genetic based, and we will not accept that because it's uncomfortable. We don't want to. So we punish ourselves by blaming ourselves for being racist, for just acknowledging the reality. But we're never going to solve the problem because we won't acknowledge the problem. And by the way, if it's genetic, you can't solve it. You cannot raise somebody's IQ. You can raise it a little bit. You can take what they've got, their natural abilities, and you can improve them a little bit. It's kind of like putting me on a basketball court, trying to make me an NBA pro player. You can't do that. Now, you can teach me a little bit. You can improve my basketball skills a little bit, but there's a ceiling there, and it's not a glass ceiling. It's a real ceiling. I'm only so good at basketball, and I will never go higher than that. Never improve beyond that. Same thing true of intellect. I can only go so high. I can't go any higher because it's genetic, and the same thing is true of all people. And sometimes people groups, ethnic groups, have an average IQ cap. It's not popular to say that, but it's reality, and we have to acknowledge the reality. And they are facing this problem in Massachusetts where they have a high concentration of Hispanic students, but these kids are not getting the education they need because these pinhead, dingbat, left-wing lunatics are in charge of the education system. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it on social media. Lower right-hand corner, there's a little round button that says subscribe. Click on that to subscribe to our YouTube channel. What we do here is defend Western culture. We tell the truth. We're just very blunt about bypassing cultural Marxism and political correctness. People are going to call us names. They call us racist and something phobe or whatever. And then we just keep telling the truth. That's what we do here. So if you agree with that, we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you want a channel to go to, and folks, look, even conservative websites, conservative publications won't do what we do because they're terrified of being called racist. So strategically, they avoid the race issue. We don't avoid it. We talk about it because it needs to be talked about. Once again, when people who tell the truth won't speak up, then the only people speaking are the liars.
How to subscribe? Click subscribe. Click the bell. Check the box. Save.